Hey guys, what's up? My name is Alyce, and I am the Healing Priest in Exiled Power on Arthas. I am here today on the Legion Beta, and I'm going to be going through Neltharian's Lair, which is one of the new dungeons in Legion. A couple things before I start. Number one, most important, is that please remember that this is beta. Things are subject to change, so if you're watching this video at a later date, things may be out of date. Um, as well, I am doing this on heroic difficulty, so if you're doing this on Mythic, things will be harder, and there may be some things that have changed for Mythic as well. Third is I am doing this as Discipline, so you will get to see some of that gameplay. However, I am using a dungeon spec, so I'm using the Penitent in the level 15 row, which allows me to use Penance on my target to heal them, instead of just using it as a DPS spell, as well as using Grace in the level 100 talent, which increases my non-atonement healing. These are pretty much needed for dungeon runs, especially at my gear level, just so that you can keep the tank alive. So as you can see, this dungeon is a lot of earth elementals and rocks. It looks a lot like Stone Core, kind of has that same feel. This is Neltharian's lair, so it is where he used to reside and then became Deathwing. After his fall, the Drogbar, which is a new race in Legion that you'll come across, who they once worshipped the Great Dragon, built their capital within this ancient lair. Now Dargrul, chieftain of the Drogbar, rallies a massive army within these depths. Bolstered by the hammer of Khazgarath, this army will surge from the mountainside if left unchecked, devastating High Mountain and threatening the security of all Azeroth. So, this is located in High Mountain, which is one of the 4 leveling zones. So this is one of the dungeons that you will see while you're leveling up, and it actually ends one of the quest lines for that zone. As you can tell, it's underground. When you come in, you do go down this huge water slide, which is kind of cool. Just make sure if you do need to change talents that you do it before you jump down, because you cannot at the end of the slide there, unless you have your tomes with you. It's a fairly quick dungeon. It took us about 20 minutes to clear with some bugs and also a lot of reses. Since our Shadow Priest was using Surrender to Madness, I had to res him after every boss. Now we are coming up on the first boss here, which, as you can see, you fall down even further. The first boss is Rokmora, and he has 3 abilities. So he is a massive crystal fury constructed to annihilate all who stand against the Underking. The wild magic used to create this behemoth has yet to take hold, imbuing any piece of Rokmora, attached or not, with Ularog's malevolent will to crush his enemies. So his first ability is Brittle. The crystalline body shatters each time it is struck, creating tiny skitters that attack the party. So as you can see, there are the little spiders that are coming around, so every time he's hit, he spawns some of those. He has Blight Shard Skitter, which are these little enemies, and they have an ability called Choking Dust. The Skitter's corpse forms a crystalline gas that fills your lungs, inflicting 89,000 nature damage every 1 second. So that's what's spawning those green pools there, are the little spiders when they die. The boss's second ability is Shatter. He stomps the ground, inflicting 208,471 physical damage to enemies around the caster and crushing all the skitters. So when he casts that, he kills all the spiders, he causes more of that green smoke to come up underneath of him, and he does damage to the whole party. And his final ability is Razor Shards. The giant swings his arms, hurling crystals that inflict nature damage to targets in a cone in front of the boss. So basically, the tank just needs to keep him facing away from the party. It's a fairly easy boss on heroic. I can see it getting much harder on other difficulties with all the spiders and the smoke. It's pretty cool. So next we are actually gonna go through some more water and you jump in a barrel. You do get an ability called Fish Toss while you're doing this, but I am not actually sure what that does. There's no real indication. Just throw fish while you're going down there. So there is a bunch more trash, which these are all Drogbar. And the next boss that we're going to be coming up on is Ularogg Cragshaper. So we are making our way towards him right now. He is an ancient Drogbar that has committed his life to the pursuit of power. Through violence and deception, Ularogg rose to become the Underking's trusted advisor. He detests Navarog for bringing intruders into their home and will take pleasure in bringing about their violent end. So as you can see while you're doing the trash here, there's rocks falling down from above. They do hurt and they will stun you, so you want to move out of those as you can. There are only 4 bosses here, so there is a lot of trash, but it's still a fairly easy dungeon. So we are coming up on the boss here. You do need to clear all the trash in this room before pulling him. The Drogbar that are on the outside, once you pull these packs, will all come at once, I believe. There are still rocks coming down from above. You can see the swirlies on the ground there. Just try not to get hit by them. Help out your healers a little bit. So this boss also has 4 abilities. His first ability is Stance of the Mountain. Transforms himself into a bellowing idol and hides among other identical idols. As long as he remains within this form, the party continuously receives damage from falling debris. That's a pretty important ability there. Next is Bellow of the Deeps. Summons bellowing idols that scream and cause debris to fall onto the party. And their debris inflicts 59,400 physical damage to enemies near the impact. So there's going to be more rocks falling from the from above, and yeah. So his third ability is Strike of the Mountain. Summons a pair of stone hands which move inward and explode for 475,000 nature damage on contact. So you will see these abilities when we start the fight here. You just move out of them. They're pretty easy. They look like the hands that come up during the Cormorant trash, I believe it is, or yeah, similar to his hands that come up. Let's see, his fourth ability is Sunder. Bashes an enemy for 535,000 nature damage. Pretty straightforward there. So you can see the idols, you just have to kill them. There you can see the hands just popped up. Just move out of them. Again, pretty easy fight. So because it puts that red arrow above your head, you can actually move out before they even spawn. So I think it's kind of funny they have the snail racing inside the dungeon. They do have some of that in the actual zone as well when you're doing the quests. It's kind of a fun little thing. So this boss that's coming up is Naraxas. He's a big worm, kind of like the worms in Blackrock Depths, or there's one in, or I'm sorry, not Blackrock Depths. So this is kind of a cool idea, as you'll see at the end of the fight, but let's go over his abilities first. He has 5 abilities. The first one is Putrid Skies. He spews acid on the entire party when not engaged in melee combat, inflicting 118,787 nature damage. So you want to make sure that there's always somebody near him in melee range. His second ability is Rancid Maw. He fires a ball of venom at a random enemy's destination that does 125,142 nature damage on impact, and leaves a pool of toxic bile. Also, anyone caught within the pool has their movement speed reduced by 25%. You will see, I think I actually get hit by it once, maybe in this fight, so you'll be able to see that as well. The third ability is Toxic Retch. He retches bile, leaving behind toxic pools that inflict 44,545 nature damage every 0.5 seconds around the boss, and inflicting additional 37,459 nature damage every 1 second to the party for 5 seconds. So lots of AoE damage. His fourth ability is Spiked Tongue. Naraxas latches onto her target with a spiked tongue and pulls them into her maw, inflicting 415,700 physical damage every 1 second for 5 seconds. Run away from Naraxas to avoid being eaten. Every time she eats, she gains an additional stack of Ravenous. And Ravenous is every victim that she devours increases her damage by 25%, and it stacks. Her last ability is Frenzy. Naraxas roars, increasing her attack speed by 20% and the physical damage she deals by 20%. She does have adds that spawn and leap in from above, and they rush towards her to be eaten, so that gives her stacks of Ravenous. And as you can see, once you kill the worm, you actually have to jump down into the hole to complete the dungeon. The loot is at the bottom. As you can see here, ours did bug out, but again, it's beta. Stuff like that happens. So we will continue on. Now, we are going to start this room of trash, and as you can see, it looks like there is a lot of trash. However, after we do this first pool, we do figure out that you can skip it. It looks like this may be something that they are trying to fix. As you'll see, there are drag bar over on the side that will knock you back, so they're trying to make it so you cannot go around them. So I can see them fixing it before this actually goes live. Doesn't seem like it's intended to be able to skip this entire room of trash. These scorpions are a pain. They have a lot of health, so it just takes a really long time to kill them. They also do a lot of damage. So here's where our warrior actually shows us that we can go around all these mobs. Now you'll see here, they'll knock you back. So if you're coming from the other side, they will knock you into the ads. So you want to be careful not to do that if this is still able to be done. So you can't skip that entire room there. So we also do not clear this entire room. It was a little scary with not clearing it, but yeah. So the last boss is Dargrul the Underking. Dargrul is the most powerful Underking since the Age of Neltharian. Certain that only he has the right to wield the power of Khaz'goroth, Dargrul murdered High Chieftain Ulan and seized the artifact from the High Mountain Tauren. Now he uses the hammer's power to devastate the region and anyone who opposes him. So he does have 5 abilities. His first ability is Landslide. He slams the ground, causing granite spikes to erupt from the ground in a line, inflicting 356,361 nature damage and knocking back enemies nearby. This ability is why I would suggest probably clearing, because he does do the knockbacks. Second ability is Molten Crash. After Landslide, the Underking swings Khaz'goroth and causes the ground to erupt from under his current target, inflicting 475,000 nature damage. Tanks not using their active mitigation suffer an additional 475,000 nature damage and are knocked back. So this is going to be only on your tank. Unless he has it facing the wrong direction, then it'll hit whoever is in the line. So you want to be facing away from the rest of your party and using your active mitigation. His third ability is Magma Sculptor. He summons molten charskins that fixate on random targets, and they have 3 abilities. First one is Magma Breaker. Every step the charskin takes shatters the earth, inflicting 29,700 fire damage to enemies. Second is Burning Hatred, and that's just their fixate. Third is Crystal Cracked. Leading a charskin into a crystal spike stuns the charskin for 10 seconds and increases all damage taken by 100%. His next ability is Magma Wave. The Underking smashes the ground, periodically inflicting 297,000 fire damage to targets not in cover, culminating in 891,000 fire damage to all exposed enemies, which is probably what happened to me there when I died. And the last ability is Crystal Spikes. He causes crystal spikes to erupt at the enemy destination that inflict 475,000 nature damage to nearby targets and knocks them back. Once formed, these spikes can be used as cover to protect the party from Magma Wave. So again, still pretty easy fight. Make sure you are going behind cover for that as well. And that is it for the first dungeon guide for Neltharian's Lair. If you like the video, please make sure to like and hit subscribe below. I will be going through the rest of the dungeons here, so I will see you in the next one.